Today, I'm going to be switching out my old radio. I'm going to try to modernize the car a bit. I'm going to put a Apple CarPlay head unit on this car now. So I'm switching out this old Pioneer one. I mean, it got the job done for a cool minute. It had Bluetooth, it worked, sounded fine. I mean, I don't really have a good sound system in this car, but it got the job done. But I kind of want to modernize the car a bit. So we're going to be switching out this head unit, or this one right here, and we're going to be putting in an Apple CarPlay head unit. The head unit that I'm going to be switching out to today is a single DIN Apple CarPlay head unit. I think the brand is called Navifly, but I got it off of eBay. So I'm taking a chance with eBay just because on my daily, which is my second gen Highlander, I might do some videos on that too, explaining about the Apple CarPlay head unit on there too. I chose this one just because that Apple CarPlay head unit in the Highlander works perfectly fine. I got it relatively cheap, and this one was super cheap as well. It was like 30 bucks, and it came with a lot of the features that I wanted in a head unit. So I wanted wireless Apple CarPlay, I wanted a volume knob, I wanted a USB-C, and then as well I wanted a normal USB. And I'm hoping that this head unit will have a similar feature to the one that I have in my Highlander, where you could change the boot up screen. So give it a little bit of customization, personalization, all that cool stuff. And also the reason why I went single DIN, I've seen a lot of MR2 people, they have the full double DIN Apple CarPlay head unit. I didn't want to have that, just because I wanted to still use my cup holders. So my car, when I bought it, came with these cup holders. I still want to use them, and I like it in this area as well. So that's why I wanted to go single DIN, just so I could have it all in the same area. So it kind of has, this head unit has everything that I'm looking for in features. So that's why I went with this head unit. So this is you can kind of see this as like the adapter radio harness for the MR2. On the back, it just shows what wire is for what. And I'll be referencing the listing of the head unit. It also labels it on the wires, but I'll be referencing the listing on eBay regarding what wire connects to what wire on this harness. So this harness right here plugs into OEM, and then this one plugs into the head unit. And then we're gonna combine both of these using those self-soldering little shrink wraps. So that's what I'm gonna do. Do a quick time lapse of that. Catch you in a bit.
Yeah, I wanna know if you're gonna be there. 'Cause it's hard to believe or see, yeah. Why do I get the feeling we're getting close? We'll never be there. 'Cause it's hard to believe or see, yeah. Is it more than a feeling?
So I already got started with taking apart the radio. All you really do to take apart the radio is you would pull off, oops-a-daisy, the shift knob, and then you would pull off the gear boot, and then after that you would take off the radio trim surround, which would give you access to this. You would pull out the ashtray, and then on the ashtray there's some screws that you would unscrew, and then from there you would slowly pull off the big radio surround. Just be careful, it's old, so you don't want to break any of the plastic parts. So just try to be gentle with it. There are some plugs right here you have to unplug right here. For this one's for the hazard, this is for the cigarette lighter. And then once you pull that out, you would have access to the bolts that mount the radio. So, oops-a-daisy, the bolts that mount the radio and the AC controls. The thing is, I'm in a weird dilemma where it looks like the previous owner already tapped into the original harness, so, and mated it to the aftermarket connector that goes onto the aftermarket head unit. So what I want to do is I'm gonna pretty much redo this, reconnect it to an OEM connector so I could plug into the one I have. But hopefully for anyone that's using this as like a guide, hopefully yours hasn't been touched like this, so it'd be a lot more easier. But I kind of want to retain some of the OEM-ness of it. But to remove the radio and the AC control unit, there is bolts right here, bolts right here. There's some bolts on the bottom here. This is for the ashtray. That helps remove the radio surround. A bolt here and a bolt there. Where you would see those bolts for the ashtray is right here. So that's why when you pull off the ashtray, those would pop up. And then same thing with the radio. There's a bolt here, bolt there, bolt here, and a bolt there. And you would see it on the radio right here. You see the bracket. We are going to be reusing this bracket for the new head unit. But I'm going to switch this one to the bottom and then the aftermarket head unit to the top. So I guess you can say like if I was to ever use the cup holder, it wouldn't get in the way of the touchscreen. I mean, it would kind of get in the way even if this was on the bottom, if you were to put a cup there. But I think it'll just be a little bit better than having it under here. But yeah, and that's how you do it. So the next time you'll see me is I will be redoing all these wires to an OEM connector because I don't want this whole mess. So yeah. And then for the AC button, all you do is unplug this connector right here, and then you'll see at the top there's this little hole. I just used a screwdriver. I poked it in, and then I kind of just pushed the AC button out. And that's how you pull out the AC button. And then you could switch the button of the AC that I'll show you in a bit. I pulled out the AC button because my old one was all beat up. It's not that hard, but once you pull it out, you can pull off the tabs. You see right here, here's some let me let this focus. But there's some tabs on there that you can pry off where the AC button clips onto. And then you can pull that off. And I just got a replacement one from MR2 Heaven, which I'm gonna put on here. So I'll show you guys that after I put it on. Yeah, as you can see, a lot better compared to the old one. I mean, you could have just spray painted this and it'll look just as good, but I wanted it to look somewhat OEM. So there you go.
3 days later.
And we finally got those pigtails that we needed for what happened to my car. So we're pretty much gonna connect these to that, so the harness I made for the aftermarket head unit will work. I'm still gonna use those self-soldering connectors, and we're gonna use a lighter instead of the heat gun that I used in that time lapse, just to marry this to the OEM harness, so it's pretty much like OEM, because this is supposed to be the OEM plugs for this car. All right, so I got the wiring harness done. I connected everything that matched on here onto the OEM harness. But before I do anything, I'm gonna test this out by plugging in the radio. So here we go. We're gonna start testing it out. Okay, never mind, they're not taking forever. Okay, so let's do this. Moment of truth. Let's see how this plays out. Oh, we got life. We got life. Oh shit, that's cool. Okay.
3 days later.
All right, last time on the video, some complications came up. That's why I couldn't really finish the install. But after a bunch of headaches and finding out that a fuse was blown, I finally got it installed. Oh, let it focus. There you go. Honestly, I would recommend a different radio, but just because the fitment's a little weird. This is kind of like a universal radio anyway, so it doesn't really fit the MR2 that well, but I found a way to make it fit well. What the heck? I had the windshield wipers on. Oh, it's turning on. Nice. Looks like it's working fine. So, Apple CarPlay head unit install complete. And that's how it looks like on the MR2. Everything's done and it works fine. So I would recommend a different head unit. I mean, I think this one has some fitment issues just because of the screen itself being a little too big, but there is plenty of single DIN Apple CarPlay head units out there that could probably fit the MR2 better. Or if you don't even want your cup holders, you could go double DIN. All right, time to change the boot logo of this head unit. So I'm gonna show you the boot logo that's already on the car. Oh, excuse the AC belt. So that's how it looks. Not really a fan. I want something a little more fitting. We're gonna need this flash drive, which we're gonna plug into this USB port, and you would have to upload a file with images that you want to use, and the file has to say logo on it. So I'll show you right now. As you can see, it's reading the USB, and then let me go to setup, and then we'll go to factory settings. We'll put in the code, and from there, now we could select our logo card. This is the retro Toyota. Oh, it looks like it does, but it doesn't seem aligned. So screw it. Let's go test it out. So we'll remove this USB, and then we'll try that again. Oh. Turn the car back on. Oh, looks like the boot logo is working. But I plan to change that logo, but that's how you would do it. Thank you for watching, and I'll conclude the video. Till next time.